Hi guys, welcome to my eyebrow tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about the funnest thing ever, eyebrows, of course. First, let's just talk about what it is that I use. This is magic in a jar. It is Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade. Oh my gosh, can we just talk about it for a second? Honestly, my brows were in much need of something that made them look not like they do now, because as you can see, they are totally jacked up, super thin. I messed them up when I was in junior high. I use the shade Blonde as I'm showing you right now. It is a godsend. Honestly, it is the best thing for brows that I have used to date. Anything by her is just incredible. She's a genius. What I use to put it on is the e.l.f. small angled brush. I don't particularly care for this brush, but it's just a transition brush. It's a lot better than the one I originally got, which was like 4 times too thick, and it just, oh my gosh, it made me look absolutely terrible. Let's just talk for a second about how hard it was for me to try and do my eyebrows. First of all, I had no real tabletop mirror to look at. It was really hard for me to try and look in the webcam and do it, and it was terrible. The struggle is real, guys, seriously. But I eventually grabbed my NYX palette and just started doing it. A lot of people have different opinions on where it is that they start their brows. I like doing it from the inside corner on the bottom just so I can get that whole bottom line down. It's really hard for me to get my arch in the shape right that I want. I end up actually tweaking it in the end, but yeah, the struggle is real, guys. Seriously, it's ridiculous. My lighting is not the best, and it was just really hard to see with all the shadows that were being cast everywhere. So as you can see, I got the line down. Once I get it to the tail that I like and the right arch and shape that I particularly care for, that's when I start going in at the top and just kind of doing it. I go right about where my pupil is. I never go way far into the beginning of my brow just because I do go heavy-handed with this stuff. Just me personally, that's how I tend to go. And it's just easier for you to get the hang of it if you do it farther out from the inner brow. I would suggest, if you are lighter handed, not to necessarily start all the way at the inner part of the brow when you're doing it on the bottom either. Here's where I typically get my actual arch, is I draw it on. My eyebrows are so jacked up, guys, it's not even funny. So here I'm just doing small brush strokes. I try to do them small. You can see I'm pushing kind of hard right here, but I do smaller strokes just because it's a lot easier to clean up. It's a lot easier to do. You can see that the shape is starting to come in, and you just do little feathering strokes to kind of simulate what the hair looks like and what the hair does. And then I go in, and before I fill in that edge on the top, what I'll do is I'll fill in the rest of it just to kind of get a feel for how my brow is going to go. And if I don't like where it's going, I can clean it up and I can start again. Do not feel intimidated if you do it once and it's not perfect, because I have to take off my brows and put them back on sometimes, on some occasions, quite a few times before I actually like what they look like. And here, I think at the end, I actually ended up having to completely take off part of my brow. Not the one I'm doing right now, but the other one I think I had to completely take off. I realized that I was really leaning too far down for you guys to see anything, so I just decided to sit up and pull my NYX palette up. If you guys didn't know this, I was unaware of it until I Googled it. The NYX palettes, they do have a mirror in there. You just have to slide the shadows to the right. If you slide it to the right, there is a nice little mirror under there, and those little spongy shadow things, applicators, whatever they are, you know, the old things that you used to use in the 90s before you found out brushes when you were a kid. Those things are in there. I really like it because it's a nice size mirror. It stays really clean in there because I didn't really even know that it existed. So here I'm just as light as I possibly can. I'm going farther into the inner part of my brow. I did kind of mess up just a little bit, and I go back and I clean it up later on towards the end of the tutorial. But again, I do feathering strokes. Once I get to the inner part of my brow, I turn my brush, and from the inner corner with the longest taper facing down, and just using basically the point, I will flick it upwards towards my hairline, so that way it gives the effect of those hairs that typically will grow straight up as opposed to growing to your temple. You really want to just try and go with how your natural hairs go. I have really long, unruly eyebrow hairs that tend to go all over the place. So what I do is I just like to kind of make my eyebrows do what I want them to, even if they don't like to. In this tutorial, I didn't grab my brow gel. The brow gel that I have is the Milani brand. They don't have it at Target. Here you can tell that I'm starting to get a little frustrated just because I'm not really liking what's going on. I will go in and blend out that hard line that's on the inner corner. I sped up this because honestly, my brows and the routine that I do for my brows probably take the longest out of everything. I think they even take longer than doing my actual shadow. And one thing you really have to try and remember is that your eyebrows are not twins. They will never be twinsies. They will never have twin days. And if you can get your brows to be identical, then kudos to you. With the magic of movie editing, I kind of just took out a huge chunk of doing this side of my eyebrow because, you know, no one really wants to watch a 20-minute eyebrow tutorial. If you guys do, then, well, it's not here. So here I'm doing the same thing. I'm just using light feathering strokes with the pomade. The farther in I get to the inner corner of my eyebrow, the less product that I'm using, just because I am so heavy-handed with it. And here is when I start realizing that I'm not really liking how my eyebrow on that side is turning out. When I was in junior high, I plucked my eyebrows to where one of them actually sits higher naturally than the other one does. And I am definitely paying for it now because it is a pain in the butt to try and get my eyebrows to do what I want them to. I had to leave to go get my spoolie. I thought I brought it down with me, but I didn't. This is the Milani eye pencil, which is very similar to the Anastasia Beverly Hills eye pencil. I think they call it the Brow Wiz. On one side is the spoolie, the other side is the eyebrow pencil. I wasn't too crazy about this. It might just be because it was the Milani brand, or it could be because I don't particularly care for using an eyebrow pencil. But what I'm doing is I'm using the spoolie part to really blend out any heavy areas that I went with my pomade, and any areas that there's too many harsh lines, especially in the inner corner, I will blend it out. And here it is, I went and I got a Q-tip, the only Q-tip I could find in my house, actually. And I am just cleaning up that under part where I really didn't care for how thick it was. I wasn't really caring I just wasn't liking how the brow was turning out. So here I'm cleaning it up. Don't feel like you guys have to just go with how your brows turn out the first time. Don't be afraid to take parts off, to tweak it. Something that I've been meaning to do that I haven't, and I suggest if you haven't put brows on before, that what you should do is take a time in your day that you just want to practice doing brows, and really just kind of take your time practicing, putting them on, taking them off. I know it's a big headache and hassle, but in the end, you'll end up loving it because you'll be able to get your brow routine down. You'll get the shape down. You'll be able to do trial and error without actually having to go anywhere. I really hate when my brows look like utter crap and I have to go to school or I have to go to church and I'm just not really digging how my brows look. So here you can see I took off that top part of my brow that I wasn't really crazy about, and I'm just redoing it. I thought the arch went up just a little bit too high, so I just brought it down a bit, and I'm going back over with my pomade. Again, I'm not really too crazy about this brush. When we had makeup day at school, one of my classmates had the actual Anastasia Beverly Hills eyebrow brush, and I adored it. It was super thin, it was super easy to use, and it distributed the product the way that it's meant to, which, you know, it makes sense. She's the one who made the pomade, and she's the one who made the brush to go with it. So again, the struggle is real with the mirror, guys. It was terrible trying to figure out how to do my brows and get enough light and for you guys to see. So I go over with my foundation where I had taken off part of my brow, and here I'm just kind of perfecting it wherever it is that I like it. Parts that I accidentally took off too much with my Q-tip, I'm going back in. The spoolie I'm taking off where there's too much product. I'm blending out that inner corner to where it's not so harsh and it looks more natural. And I think this is about the part where I decide that I'm kind of okay with how my brows turned out. Or maybe not. I think it was a little bit too light on the inner corner. But this is basically my eyebrow routine. You just do light flicks and you try and make it look as much like eyebrow hair as you possibly can, whether you use the pomade or you use a pencil. No matter what you do, you just want to make it try to look as natural as you can. I don't really like doing the concealer on the bottom or top just because I personally try to be as precise as I can with the brush, just so I can avoid having that really bright highlight around where my brows are. And I think this is actually the part where I decide that I'm okay with my brows, and I don't know what I'm doing, but there they are. There are my brows. You can see one is higher than the other one. And remember, brows are sisters. They are not twins. They are never going to look exactly the same. There's nothing you can do about that. Unless your eyebrows are perfect, then you're amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please don't forget to subscribe. I don't know why I'm just randomly sitting here. Thanks, guys. This is my eyebrow tutorial. I hope you guys have an awesome day, and thank you so much for watching once again. I don't know why I'm just sitting there staring at myself. That's really awkward. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.